Barak, Yahweh, Alam, Shalom, planet Earth. Welcome back to TRU-TALK. And I had a little bit of a, I don't know if you can call it a revelation or just understanding on speaking the Most High Word. And I just want to share it with y'all because I think it's important. Uh, all through the scripture, we hear the Most High tell people to speak His word. And when we see the prophet speak, we see the prophet say, "Thus says the Most High." The Most High said this. And at times the Most High says, I'm going to send a prophet that's not going to speak his own words, but it's going to speak my words. And I think at times it may go over our head, because I know it went over my head, but I didn't really meditate on that and realize that we are messengers of the Most High. And when He tells us something, that we should speak it exactly how He tells it. And as the scripture says, wisdom cry out loud, just from personal experience. Don't you hate when you tell someone to say something to somebody and you tell them what to say, but they don't say it like that, like they put in their own words? Like, for example, uh, I may tell somebody, hey, you'll tell so and so that if they don't mind, if they got time, can they please fix me a sandwich? I'll be very grateful. And that person go and say, hey, he said fix him a sandwich. And you're like, no, I didn't say that. I told you to tell the person that if they didn't mind it, if they had time, that, that I would appreciate it. You didn't use those words. You just said he said he wanted you to fix him a sandwich. And as our ancestors used to say, or our grandparents, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And it's how you word it. And it's the tone that you say it in. All that matters. And you know, I told somebody to go and tell somebody something for me earlier today, and I overheard them saying it. But the Most High gave me the privilege to hear what they said and how they say it. And they told the person what I said, but not what I said. It was in their own words, and and it almost like it just wasn't what I told them to say. And this is, I believe, is bearing false witness. If somebody tell you to say something, you say it, but you don't say it the way they say it. You add to it or take it away or take something away for it. That's a part of being false witness and being deceitful and lying. And now I understand the Most High when He says, I'm going to send a messenger. It's not going to speak His own words, but it's going to speak my words. And people be like, well, do you want me to say exactly what you said? Like, yes. If I tell you to say, hey, if I say, when you go to the store, tell so and so, man, I really appreciate what he done for me. I ain't forgot about it. It meant a lot. That's what I want you to say. I don't want you to go there and say, yeah, Cuzzo said he appreciated. You know what I'm saying? Like, because when somebody send you a message, a lot of times they understand why they saying what they saying. They understand the agree of things, what took place, and they know how they want to say it, and they saying it that way for a reason, because they trying to get a message, a point across. Now, if you don't say it exactly like that, then you're doing a disservice. You basically being deceitful and bearing false witness. And this is why we got to be careful who we send to bear our message. Proverbs chapter 26, verse 6 said, "He who sends his message by the hand of a fool cuts off his own feet and drink violence." You know what I'm saying? Like, there's wisdom in delivering a message. It's not always a great time to speak. You know, a lot of times, people be hard at work, just got off from work, frustrated, and we trying to tell them to keep the laws, and they Israelites, and they not trying to hear that right now. You know what I'm saying? There's a time and a place for everything. You gotta know when to feed the people. You gotta know how to feed them. People eat when it's dinner time. Usually people do not just eat all different times of the day. Usually people have a set time when they sit down and eat. So when they're willing to sit down and eat, then you can present them with food and they'll be willing to eat it. This is what the scriptures mean when he says we got to be wise as serpents. And we are the Most High messengers. When we uh, deliver what the Most High said, or when us as students and disciples, when we deliver the Most High words, we are saying, thus we should, supposed to be saying, thus what the Most High says. And I think a lot of times uh, we look over that. And I think that's very important to the Most High. This is why he was very particular about choosing certain people. And that's why certain people he had to reject, because they wasn't doing it the way that he says do it. And another aspect of it, sometimes, I done been at fault where the ruach come over me and it tells me to say something to somebody, but I don't think it's the right time. I'm like, right here, right now. I know I just heard the Most High through the ruach told me to say this, but I'm fearful. I let fear come over me. Or if I say it because I don't like the way he told me to say it, I try to make it sound better or put it in a different way because I think it's too harsh. You know what I'm saying? And I end up stumbling over my words and not making sense. Instead of just bearing the message. That's the most I said. I'm being a disobedient servant when you do that. When you do that, you being disobedient. And, are we doing that when it comes to the Most High Word? Are we saying it? Thus says the Most High. Period. You know what I'm saying? It ain't. And when we say it, are we being wise messengers? Do we know when to say it and what time to say it and who to say it around? Sometimes you gotta have common sense to know, hey, if I'm gonna speak, let me speak to this person in private, or let me speak to this person at a later time. And then we wonder why the message that we speak don't be received, because one, we're not speaking what thus says the Most High speaking. We putting it in our own words, trying to make it sound the way we want it to sound, or we don't say it when he tell us to say it, or excuse me, or we don't say nothing at all, and we find ourselves being false witness from the Most High by doing that, whether we know it or not. We find ourselves being false witness bearing false witness, and we find ourselves being false prophets, and we find ourselves not being affected and feeding the people because we're not just following orders and saying that's what says the Most High. I remember my mama, uh, when she used to sometimes send me to my neighbor's house to, say we might ran out of sugar, for example. She may send me to go get some sugar, and she'll say, hey, tell the next door neighbor, I went shopping, I forgot to get some sugar, and I thought I had some, but, you know, the money that I had to buy some sugar, I had to do so and so with it, and if she can spare me a cup full, I'll pay her back. Instead of saying all that, I go over there and I just say, hey, can we borrow some sugar? And wherever the neighbors, whatever the neighbor was, whether they give it to me or not, my mama used to always ask, what did you say? Did you say it the way I said it? And I'd be like, I just told him we needed some sugar. And she'll be like, no, that's not what I told you. Say it the way I told you to say it. And I'd be like, you want me to say it word for word? And she'd be like, yes. When other people be like, you want me to say it for word? I'd be like, yes. Like I didn't understand it back then, but now I understand it. It's so frustrating. Yes, the way I tell you to say it, that's the way I want you to say it. That's why I told you to say it that way. To the point my mama, when she used to send me, she stopped asking me to say it, and she'll just write a note and put in her own words and say, here, just get this note to him. Because it's important. When you go speaking for somebody, when you send a message for somebody, you speaking on their behalf. And like with everything, you gotta have wisdom. Sometimes you gotta know, is it the right time? That person may be upset or going through something, and you might say, okay, this is not the time to ask. Or you might need to, you know, just have wisdom. And a lot of times when we speak the Most High words, number one, we don't speak what He tell us and how He tell us. And number two, we don't have wisdom, and speak it with wisdom to understand how to feed the people. And this is just what the Most High showed me. And I think it's just important that when we speak His word, we should say it the way that He told us to say it, not adding anything to it or taking anything from it, because He knows what message He wanted to across. He knows who knows better how to speak to His people than Him. So we just need to speak what He tell us and stop being wise in our own eyes and not say things in our own way. Until next time, Shalom.